Ada, welcome to Music is My Mantra.
Hey! Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. Yeah. I'm so excited to have you here. I have not had a shaman on my podcast yet, so this is a very first. Music is My Mantra is the space where we discuss and explore all things music and wellness. So I asked Ada to come on board today because I know she's been working a lot with music and sound recently, and she has just a wealth of wisdom when it comes to the other side, and her work is very powerful. So I'd love to start off by just giving a little background on yourself. And you have a very interesting story, and you have a big transition that occurred in your life to bring you to where you are and doing the work that you're doing today. So where did you start? You were from the East Coast originally, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So I was born in Texas to Vietnamese immigrants. My parents came here in 85 and had me in 87 in Texas. And then we moved to Boston. So I grew up in Boston most of my life. And then I moved to LA actually in 2012 because I wanted to work in the film industry. So from 2012 until 2020, I was actually a makeup artist in the film industry. And so I worked a lot with entertainment as well too. I did a lot of makeup on artists and traveled a lot. I actually was on tour with a few artists, local bands and stuff. But then I also work with Echosmith. I don't know if you know them. Echosmith. They have the song Cool Kids. They're really good.
Okay.
I work with Judith Hill. I work with a lot of beautiful artists. And it's funny, I work with Chanel West Coast. I was actually her makeup artist for Ridiculousness for 2 seasons. And so being able to be behind the scenes and watching artists, actors, and people in the entertainment for about, basically 8 years of my life.
Yeah.
And then it was fascinating now to, it's like I was in the background as a makeup artist, but now I'm working with a lot of these artists and entertainment people, and a lot of my clients are producers and directors in the industry, but working on the other side, right, of wellness and spirituality, and really getting deeper than just makeup, right?
Yeah.
It's super fascinating to see the transition of many artists right now with the rise of AI as well too. So, and learning about music from a different perspective as well too. I used to be in studio actually with some of these artists, watching them, practice and play and write music and things like that.
Yeah.
And now coming to this side and actually being, the other person
in front of the camera.
Yeah. It's very different for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my journey started in 2020, and I'll make a very long story short, but in 2020, I, like many of us, right, I stayed at home during the pandemic and started hearing voices, started seeing things. I swear, till today, it's 2020 was a portal for many of us, right? It created this huge change. It was when the world became quiet enough that we were able to begin to explore all parts of ourselves. And through that exploration, I was able to have these supernatural experiences. And so through my supernatural experiences, I reconnected with my dad, who left when I was 8. 8 or 9, he left me and the family. And so I hadn't connected with him until then in 2020 when all of this happened to me, and just serendipitously, we just ended up, my sister found him on Facebook. We reconnected. And through that, I learned through him that my ancestors used to be shamans in Vietnam. So at first I'm what is a shaman? What is that?
Right.
It's a lot of resistance, of course, right?
Sure.
I was a makeup artist, and I would say I was sort of skeptical, to be honest. My dad started telling me about you got to start doing these chants, you got to start doing this stuff and this other thing to connect to the spirit world. And I'm okay, don't understand it, don't really care, don't really want it. And so ignored it until it was it got worse. These voices in my head, and started seeing there was one night I was in bed going to sleep, and I saw these I swear red eyes just staring at me through the window, and I was
oh my gosh,
it was okay, like these are things I can't ignore. And so I started to follow the cookie crumbs, started looking into shamanism school. You know, I wanted to understand, because the last shaman in my family was my grandfather. He passed in 1976 after the fall of Saigon in 75. And my dad basically believed that like it was because we no longer needed shamans anymore. So my grandfather, his role in where he lived was like a small village.
Okay.
And so for a long time, my family was there. And my dad said he was in charge of like, basically like, you know, people getting sick, like he would heal them, like mental, physical illnesses, colds, everything, right?
Yeah.
He was like the village doctor.
Wow.
Essentially. And so, and my dad's like, well, you know, like, he was like, I came to America, and he, you know, my grandpa kept helping him to try to, you know, in Vietnam it's called like len down, like there's a phrase for it, but basically the ancestors have to like enter your body, and you go in through like a trance in order for you to be like known as like the chosen one or whatever. And there's many things to help you to decipher whether or not you're a chosen one. My dad actually went through like a death when he was 6, you know, years old. And so my grandpa was like, yes, he's going to be the next one. My grandpa like trained him, and it never happened. And so after my grandpa passed in 76, my dad, a few years later, you know, escaped Vietnam and ended up coming to America. And then it was never talked about again, right? And so when I connected with my dad, he was like, oh, you can't be a shaman because you're a female. Whoa. And there's no female shamans in our family, in our personal lineage. There's other, you know, female shamans in the world and like in Vietnam, but not in our specific lineage. Like,
interesting.
It was your grandfather, and then it was your great-grandfather, and then your great-great, and you know, he was like, from what I know, it was all men in the family that was like traditional, like kind of.
But it sounds like your dad never fully stepped into that role.
Exactly. It kind of like skipped this generation, like his generation.
Yeah.
And you know, he's very certain. He's like, we don't need it anymore. The modern day don't need no shaman, because now you can go to the hospital, you can get medicine, right? Like to him, right?
Yeah.
And so anyways, I worked a lot on you know, my imposter syndrome, right? Because even my dad didn't believe that this is what I do. And I'm like confused. It's like,
that's honestly, when we face resistance from our family, that can be like the most confusing time.
Yeah.
And often they have other ideas that they want for us because of culture, you know? And so it's hard to listen to your heart and really tap in beyond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like, you know, he didn't believe me. And then of course my mother, I love my mother, but what do you mean? She's like, you're doing great. You have good money being a makeup artist. You have all the, you know, you had a nail salon, like that, you know, you sold it, but like you can like, you know, do something else with it. And she's like, why would you leave? Like, why? Yeah. And so anyways, I against all of that, I ended up just, you know, choosing to walk this path. And in the choosing of walking this path, and now I understand, I didn't understand at the time, but you go through initiations. They're like phases of initiations when you accept to walk the path of a shaman. So what is the path of a shaman, right? It's the one that is basically the bridge between two worlds. The visible world, which we all see now, and the invisible world, right? And so many people are like, well, what's the invisible world? Well, our eyes, our ears, our 5 senses are very limited.
Yeah.
There are so many spectrums of light that we can't even see. Different colors, different sound frequencies that we can't pick up, right? So my journey kind of led me to a lot of singing.
I love it. Of course it did.
Right? I mean, I think that's why I'm here.
Yeah, totally.
Speaking of music, right? And it was fascinating because through my initiation, my ancestors taught me a lot about using voice and drums. And let me tell you, I didn't bring my drum today, but
we've got multiple drums we can get on if you need it.
Yeah, it was cool because I would dream and they would communicate in dreams to me.
Cool.
And if I'm not, you know, in medicine, you know, you plant medicine like ayahuasca and different like psychedelics, but most of the communication are through dreams. I keep seeing myself with a drum. I don't know what I'm doing with a drum not a musician. I sing, Vietnamese people, we sing karaoke. I love karaoke. But I'm like, I am not a singer, a musician, whatever that looks like, right? So I started drumming. And it was fascinating because I would feel that I would go in between worlds when I start drumming. I would put the drum near my ear and I start drumming when I'm in a session with a client. And suddenly, like the first like couple of minutes, I could literally see energy like vibrating. And I would like go into the other realm. And what I mean the other realm is the invisible world. And I could see my ancestors. I could hear them speak to me, and I could be in this space where my clients don't need to tell me anything, which, you and I have worked before, right, in the past.
Yep. Yes.
And I would be in front of my client. I don't need them to tell me anything. They don't have to share or anything. I do ask for permission, full permission to access their energy, and I use music. I use my singing and I use drumming to access their energy. Through accessing their energy, I could see all the meridians. I could see where the energies are stagnant. I could see their organs. But it's not like material like we think it is. Like I don't see the heart as a heart. I see it as like trillions of cells just vibrating that are clustered together. And I'm like, okay, I can see that's the region of the heart. So I'm like, okay, that's the heart.
Yeah.
And so as, I'm singing and I'm in my trance, right? Like in my shamanic trance, closing my eyes, I could tap into the other world and go, and then I would come back. I would say, okay, so like, how's your sleep? Insomnia. Okay, yes. How's your digestion? Oh, I have bad digestion. Okay, yeah. Because these are all the energies that I'm like tapping into. And then I would ask them, questions like, how's your relationship with your mom? Boom, on point. How's your relationship with your father? Boom, on point. Because these are all the energy that we can't literally see in this world. But it's there, right? Because our bodies are made up of trillions and trillions and trillions of cells, right? And so like they're all vibrating. That's what they're teaching me and showing me. And so when someone is having a disease or they are sick, right? They show me it's because they're out of tune. Yeah. Whether it's they are having like an emotional, an emotional experience that they weren't able to process. Let's say, for instance, and they're keeping it inside, whether they can't speak it, express it, cry, or let it go, whatever that is, right? Every time when they have that, it's compounded. And then your emotions are stuck. The chi is not flowing. Yeah. Right? So it's trying to vibrate at a certain frequency, but now it's being stuck, right? So it can't vibrate, right? Totally. And this is actually where people start to get attachments in the other realm. So when I say attachments, people are like, oh, what kind of attachments? Yeah. Like, some shamans would call them entities. I just call them parasites. Okay. Right? And viruses.
Places
in the
where your energy is being...
Exactly.
Overpowered or sucked away or leaking or something.
Yeah. So the way that I would explain like an entity attachment is, if you think about it, right? Like if you have like a pond, right? And that pond is, or a river that's not flowing, right? It starts to get stuck. So in the physical world, we see that it starts to have like parasites and bacteria and viruses like in the pond, right? It starts to get smelly, stagnant water, right? Actually, it's the same thing in the energy world. When your energetic field is not clear and your meridians are not clear, what's happening?
Stagnant, sticky,
right?
Bad smell.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah. Depression starts to happen. Anxiety starts to happen. Nightmares, night sweats, right? All these things are starting to like kind of come up. So I am that in which I am. So now that you're vibrating at that frequency, what's happening is you're just matching that frequency with another frequency. So all these like lower frequency energies are now coming to, what are they doing? They're feeding. They're feeding, right? And so how do you use music, right? Because that's the thing. And I think many people have forgotten this. So I'm going to bring it back to when you are not flowing, how do you unstuck it? How do you unstuck everything and have the river flow? Yeah. Is to identify what that is, that rock or whatever that's in the way, right? That emotion, right? So with singing and music, I'm able to enter into the invisible world, right? Because what's happening is that it is shifting the brainwave, my brainwave. When I'm singing and I'm utilizing my drum and I have bells and many things, and I'm going into a trance.
Yeah.
So I'm going from my thinking brain, right, my alpha, my beta, right, and then I'm singing, and then I'm going, and then I'm shifting my brainwave into theta. So in theta, as we know, right, we start to journey, right, and I'm going into the energetic field, and I'm seeing, okay, so what's in this person's energy field? Got it. So I ask their body to speak to me, and in that process, I'm like, oh, I see it. They have this, and this. And then I come back out and I say, okay, this is what I found. Is it okay with you that I shift it? And the minute that they say yes, I go back in. And then I start to sing in a different octave, right? I sing in a different octave. And then I match their frequency. And then I'm verbalizing some emotions that they might be not even knowing, but unconsciously keeping hidden. So sometimes I use music and I'm crying. I'm yelling, but it's the emotion. I'm tapping into their field. I'm matching that frequency, and I'm actually helping them to take it out through my own energetic field, right?
Yeah.
So the singing, I'm matching it, and I'm just taking it out.
Releasing it
For them. Yeah.
Cool.
Through music.
Yeah. I mean, there's, in like scientific terms, there's been studies on entrapment, right? So it's like the frequency, if somebody is trying to use music in their own way, like when you're playing the drum, even before you go into the journeying, like that is affecting your organs even on a micro level, So to then take things to the next level and to have these gifts that you have, it's like fascinating that you can help people along, And I think music is something that we can all use as a tool, and you sharing this technique is just proof of that, in my mind, like, but not everybody can just easily tap into the other realm and help everybody with music in that way, right? You have like a very unique gift that you're able to see beyond.
Yeah. Yes. So it's about the seeing, right? And so again, going back to my family, to the lineage, right? This is the same thing my grandpa did. And it's the same thing my great-grandpa did.
So he used music too?
Yeah. And this is what he shared with me. He showed me.
Oh, wow.
Right? And it's funny because when I use a drum, he doesn't even need a drum. He could just, and then go right into it without a drum.
Wow.
Right? And it's funny because in today's society, right? Like, I mean, he was a shaman in Vietnam, in a jungle, technically, right? I think my dad said it was like in the 50s, right? That he was like 50s and 60s was like his, like he was pretty big, like 20 year span of my grandpa in his prime, right? And so there's not a lot of distraction. There's not a lot of toxins too.
Yeah, the jungle, just lots of life, probably.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. And so, there's so much I can share, but now we have our modern worlds, I live in LA.
This is still LA. Just the bubble.
Yeah, right. The smog, right?
Yeah.
The energy, the food, the water. Humans are consuming way more toxins now than we ever have. Right? So the distraction of the mind and the brain is that much more, right? That's so like for me to go into space and like, okay, my grandpa didn't need the drum. Like I kind of need it. I kind of need the bells. I kind of need the little whistles. Sometimes, honestly, I sit with Hape too, because it's like I gotta like really get into the other world. So to come back to that, it's like my ancestors were able to do this, and this is about having access into the other realm, right? Being a shaman, you can walk in both worlds, right? So in my blood, right, I have all of the memories of my ancestors that live inside of me. So my grandpa tells me all the time, like, yes, I do have some human teachers. And it's interesting because I constantly look for teachers, more and more teachers, because I love learning, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, you're looking for teachers in your world to then have access to the invisible world. He goes, okay, but you have access to the invisible world yourself. Yeah, but I want the credibility. Because, you know, sometimes in your mind, you think, I need to have an accreditation. I need to have.
That's like very much how we're trained in this society.
Yeah, in the West, right? Like,
yeah.
you know, you have to have that certification, right? To talk about it or
to validate your authority. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When, you know, before camera, you and I were just talking, like, but we all have this inside of us, this music, right?
Absolutely.
For me, it's just a tad different because what I'm able to see in the invisible world and what I'm able to access is part of my lineage gifts. And I have my ancestors in the other world to help guide me through this process where, you know, it's kind of like, you know, the prime example is like, you know, going to like a different country, not knowing the language, not knowing anything. Like, you can get lost, right? So in the energy world, the spirit realm is the same thing. So I have them to guide me so that they're showing me what's happening in the person's energy field. So I am very grateful that I have them. But however, to come back to it, we all have this gift to a certain degree, right? I was traveling over the summer and I remember I was on a lake with my husband. I was like, oh my God, I could feel a lot of people's energy in my field. So I started humming. I started singing. And then I started burping. And then I was like, oh, I feel so much better, right? You're starting to shift this.
Totally.
Right?
Humming is like my favorite. It's, you know, it doesn't feel intrusive and it's very much like you're opening your pineal gland and then it can also feel very grounding.
Yeah. So I love when I do have workshops where I help people to tap into the inner world by letting go of this realm and actually going into the world within. And in the world within, they can really access their internal gifts and to really feel the empowerment of sovereignty within self through voice. It's magical, you know. And I think that if you really go back to through history, right? Music's history, right? In Asia, in traditional Chinese medicine, like even before acupuncture, qigong, herbs and stuff, they used music as a first form of medicine, right? But the same thing. Many places in the world, they use music as a first form of medicine. They use it for ceremony. They use it to connect to the invisible realms. They use it to bring people who are sick back to being healthy again, right? Because they're off tune, right? So now they're bringing them back. So prime example is, you know, like the entity. If you're having all these emotions that are stuck, and the entity is latched on, you can literally sing and use frequency and vibration to shift the energy of the person. So now that you're shifting the energy of that person, that energy, right, the parasite or that virus or that entity is no longer having anything to like feed on. It leaves on its own, right? So it's just like, you know, and so you shift that person's energy back into its homeostasis, right? And then now they're not sick anymore, right? And so the first form of medicine, you know, our ancestors know was music around the fire, drumming, right? Ceremony, rituals, you know, speaking divination, speaking to the invisible world, you know, all of these things. And I think, you know, as modern society begins to thrive more, which is amazing. That was part of evolution. We have really forgotten the ways and it's okay because there's people like us, right, that are beginning to remember again, right? It's never gone, right? Like it's here. It's just there are many people who are still connected to that truth. And some that are not. And that's okay because I truly believe that we live on this planet. There's like many different experiences that people can have. And in this very moment, you and I are having this experience of remembering the power of voice, which is going to be so important in the coming days, months, years, right?
Totally.
To really using it as a tool for healing oneself.
I think you're spot on. Like whenever I'm feeling heavy or low, if I can bring myself back to singing music, whether that's turning on a song that I like and singing along, or like I have an app that will run vocal warm-ups with me. And even that just feels like things shift,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that's not even singing mantra or really tuning in. It's more so just starting to release something through sound and through the voice. So what would you say to someone who is curious how to start using music to heal themselves or move energy in their own field or their body? Do you have any tips or any kind of wisdom, like when you first started using sound, like what was encouraging to you?
A very good question, and possibly a very non-shamanic answer would be actually to turn on some of your favorite songs. Simple as that.
Yeah.
It's interesting because music can trigger memories too.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Smell does that, but music for sure. When I'm personally having like a not such a good day, or things are just not going the way that I thought, or just heaviness, this sounds so funny, I turn on Sailor Moon music.
I love it.
Right? So I'm an 80s 90s baby, and I love Sailor Moon, and I love it. I mean, I still, it's like my thing, because it's like I work with such heavy energies and emotions all day, every day. And going back to something like that, right, where I'm like singing like the theme song of like Sailor Moon fun. And stuff like that. Yeah. Like it brings me back to like my 8-year-old self, right, watching Sailor Moon and eating cereal, right? Like, you know, and using music in that way where it's joyful, it helps, bring up the good memories, and then start dancing it out and singing it, right? You're literally shifting. Yeah. You literally have, it's so interesting. We literally have the power within our hands. We don't think about it. Like I know a lot of people probably listening do that.
Think about everything else.
Exactly, right? Where it's like, it's simple as turning on your favorite band from high school.
Yeah. There is like one way you can think about it is if just turn the channel and then literally put some sort of music on. Like
that's it.
I love that.
Yeah. Singing and dancing to it, and then you're literally just shifting it out yourself, because that's a frequency, that's a vibration, that's bringing you back into what? Presence, embodiment, right? Because when we're not having a good day, where are we? Sometimes we're in our mind. Sometimes we're, sinking into our emotions within the body, right? Yeah. And so we're maybe in the past, or we're really worried about being in the future. Yes. Right? Yeah. So we're just
not present.
There, everywhere, but here.
Yes.
And music brings you back into presence. You're singing that song that you love from high school, from middle school, from college, whatever it is. Yes. Your first breakup song, whatever, right? That brings you back, right, to a certain beauty and memory. Yeah. And even though I was like driving here earlier today, and I was like listening to a song with like, I was saying first breakup, but it was interesting because like,
I was going to ask you what you listened to on your way over here.
Oh, gosh. I listen to a lot of Vietnamese music.
Cool.
Like it's funny because growing up, I was born in America, and growing up, my mom was like, you have to learn Vietnamese and remember Vietnamese. And she was like, because you're going to go to school and you're going to learn English, and that's great. But I don't want you to forget your language.
That's really cool that she wanted that.
Yeah. And I love my mother for it. And I'm so grateful because, recently I took my mom to Vietnam for the first time as an adult, me as the adult. So cool. Yeah, taking my mom on this like month trip to Vietnam. And it was really beautiful, like knowing the language. Like I'm like basically like 90% fluent in Vietnamese. That's amazing. Yeah. So I listened to Vietnamese music a lot when I was a kid. Fun fact, I joined a Vietnamese like singing contest, kind of like American Idol, but like Vietnamese Idol.
That is so
in great. Boston in like the early 2000s. I didn't win anything, but it was really fun.
Okay, I'm so curious. I mean, can you translate the name of the song that you sang? Do you remember?
So one of the newer songs today that I was listening to that has like a remix of like an early 2000s song. It's called Ew, which is love. So Y-E-U, ew, which is love. Ew. So like in Vietnamese, like if you're a girl singing to a guy, it's weird. It's like they, them, or she and he is like, which is like the feminine, and then an, which is like masculine. So like you an, which is I love you, from the feminine to the masculine.
You an.
Yeah. So that was kind of one of the songs I was listening to, is
Aww.
like called like Love, right?
Yeah.
You. And yeah, so I like, because it has like kind of like this undertone of like one of like, it was a remix from like an older song. So I was like, oh, thinking about like my first like ex-boyfriend, and like it brought me back like a lot of like this like love feeling memories, even though it was like, you know, heartbreak towards the end, but it was like there was so much beauty in it too, right?
Especially when you're first starting to get to know somebody, and there's possibility.
Exactly. And so I'm like listening to that song, and it was funny because I was driving here and I was like, I wanted something to be like high vibe, and it was
and you were
like,
just in your feels.
I was in my feels, like, you know, driving over, singing stuff. You know, it's one of those things where it's like we take so for granted these small medicines. Yeah. You know, and to be able to be present, coming back and recognizing that we have, you know, the ability in this, like, if we are able to understand that we always have the power within ourselves to shift our world. And personally for me, it's through music. That's why I like when you asked if I wanted to come on to be a guest, I was like, yes, absolutely. I want to talk about music. I want to like, you know, expand on it so much more. Yeah. It's such a beautiful, like, you know, in my perspective, like a forgotten way of coming back to self. So
absolutely. Yeah. I think there's so much here. And, you know, even I went to church on Sunday, and they were talking about how music brings you closer to God, and it reminds you who God is. And so it's like that connection to spirit, like our soul is connected to sound.
Yes.
And I'm sure that there's other scientific ways to explain it, but I just felt like, wow, that's really simple. And I feel like that's it, you know? It's like when we're having these stuck entities and stuck energy, it's like part of it is probably just because, one, you know, held our emotions in, right? But also maybe we've forgotten that we are connected to something greater, and that there is this connection to all good things, and good things are here for us. We choose to believe that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, that's exactly it. It's the disconnection to self, right?
Yeah.
Like when you're in those lower energies, we are like disconnected from source, right? From God, right? From the one truth that we are. Because, and this is like another episode for like to go in really further in about like the teachings of like, when I was on ayahuasca, right? Like I could literally feel my kundalini rising in one of my last ceremony that I sat. And in it, I was chanting and I was singing, and I could feel the reverberation of all the cells within my energy field just reverberating outward. And like anything that wasn't in resonance was being shifted into higher frequencies.
That's cool.
And I literally was like seeing this.
Yeah.
Like as I was on medicine.
Do you remember what you were chanting?
I had no idea what I was chanting.
Yeah, it was just channeled.
It was just like coming through. And what's interesting is most of the time, to be honest with you, my brain is still trying to rack like through like 5 years now that I'm doing this, right? Like since 2020. Sis is still trying to figure out what it is that I'm singing, because I have no idea what I'm singing like 90% of the time. Actually, like 95% of the time, I go into sessions, I work with clients, I never know what's going to happen. Ever, right? It's always non-attachment. Yeah. Child's mind. Let's play. Let's have fun. 5% of the time, they tell me a little bit of what's going on and what they actually want me to work on. But the other 95, it's I never know what's going to happen. I never know what I'm going to sing. I'm never, you know, nothing. And the beauty of it is my grandpa is like my guide from the other realm. And I love him very, very much. He is my best friend. I have such a deep relationship with my grandpa.
That's so cool.
He is literally... It's funny because it's like he is my best friend. He is my guide through the process of my initiation into this, you know, world. He's taught me so much. But even, you know, I had an Aya experience where he showed me that he knew me before I was me. He knew me when the stars gave birth to my soul. And he held me in his hands and he took me to that moment. And I was like, wow, you've known me. And he goes,
gosh.
there's so much unconditional love for you, my child, because I've known you before you were born into the world of being.
That's really cool.
And so, like, he's so special to my heart. He is like my North Star.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he's like, and I tell him, like, you're the father that I've never had, right? Because his son is my dad.
Yeah.
Never had any connection with my dad. So, yeah, so my grandpa is like my best friend. And he tells me all the time, he is like, Ada, to know who you are, it's to get lost, right? It's to losing yourself is the only way you can find yourself.
What's an example of that? Like, do you think when you're in session, you feel like you're surrendering and losing yourself? Or is it more so like, okay.
In many ways, it's like, so to find myself is to lose myself, right? In the process of losing ourselves, we let go of a lot of things. Doubt, fear, right? Anxiety of the unknown.
Yeah.
All of these things, right? When you're lost, you're just like, oh my God, I need to find myself. I need to find myself. So all of these things come up, you know, like, why can't I find myself? And so through the losing myself, I found myself home. And it's interesting. The paradox of self is to be a child is to want to be an adult. But actually to be an adult is to want to come back to being a child again, right?
Yeah.
And so through losing myself, I found myself. Through finding myself, I've realized that in order to fully be myself is to be present with my inner child, to play, to have fun, to be joyous.
Yeah.
That is experience truly of what life really is, right? And so when I come into space, when I'm working with clients, I am literally letting go of all of my doubt, all of everything in my mind, right? My ego, like what my ego can attach itself to. 'Cause sometimes our mind goes, oh, I want this to happen. Well, guess what? Maybe it's not going to happen because this person's not ready for that, or you're not ready to receive that, Ada.
Right.
And so it's like letting it all go, releasing all of that, releasing all parts of yourself. But I only got there because I lost myself. I lost my identity to who I used to be, right? Like I went through this process of initiation of letting go of like the makeup artist self, the business person, the this, the that, the, you know, wanting to be successful, wanting to like say the right things all the time, wanting to be perceived a certain way, like all like through losing myself and seeing all these parts of myself that was not authentic to who I really am, I was able to find those parts of myself. And through finding those parts of myself, there's a beingness. There, you don't need to be a certain way. You don't need to try, force, do, push. There's none of that. There's just this ever presence of beingness, right? And it's in the silence, right? It's interesting. It's like in silence we find ourselves. To listen is to be in silence. It's a paradox of self. Right? And so I had this vision of like God, Brahman, God, right? Sings and life comes into being. And I had this vision when I was in silence because I saw how everything that we are, everything, our frequencies vibrating at a certain frequency matched together to create something solid in our worlds. So actually, I'm gonna drop this before we end today. There is a silent song that is being hummed throughout our planet right now that none of us can hear. Just like right now, you can't hear your heartbeat.
Kind of like ultrasound.
Right. There is a song that is playing. Right. None of us can hear this sound, but we know that it's like the sound of the heartbeat of the Mother Earth, right? Like our heart is beating. We can't hear it, but we're all experiencing it at a certain frequency. And this song is ending, right? This song that we're emanating and playing out is ending, and a new song is beginning, right? The golden age of humanity, right? Like the time when we as individuals begin to wake up to realize how powerful we really are. And through the process, it's actually taking back our power, right? Like our attention.
Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about that.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Not giving into media, not giving into marketing, not giving into anything other than who we really are. Because the only way each of us will find out who we are and know what our gifts are is being able to tune into this new song. And you can't hear it if you don't go into silence. So like there's a beauty of like being silent and able to hear this new song.
Interesting.
So within the chaos that we all see in the world,
Yeah.
right, it's about trusting this process of this chaos, this death, this old way of being, right? That is essentially not in service to humanity of the highest good.
Right.
It was to this point, and now there's a shift happening, right, on our planet. And so being able to tune into this new song, you got to be really, really, really silent. And you really got to trust yourself in order to hear it. But once you start to hear this song, it's actually a feeling. It's a sensation within self, feeling this frequency and this vibration that is helping us to shift and change within self. So, yeah, it's going to be quite a beautiful couple of years coming soon.
Yeah. Well, I hope so, because this transition definitely feels like a roller coaster. But I feel that, and even more recently, I drive a lot. So when I'm coming back to the South Bay after work, or even sometimes on the way there, like I'll just sit in silence in my car and I won't have a podcast or music on. And sometimes it just feels like it's cleansing, I'm trying, just focusing on driving. I'm sure I'm having lots of thoughts, but at the same time, I've noticed that more recently. Whereas before, it was like a comfort to always have something on, whether it was music or a podcast of some kind. I think that new song, well, it's like you were saying that the old song is ending, but I feel like they're actually happening at the same time. Would you say that is true?
Yeah, it's like oh, okay, so it's like, so let's try it, right?
Okay.
So if I'm the old song and you're the new song, it's overlapping, right? So let's try it.
Okay.
So I'm going to be the old song and you can be the new song.
Okay.
Let's see how that goes, right?
Okay.
But it's hey, 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 Can you feel the beauty of it, right?
Yeah.
There's like this.
There's some harmonies and there's some tension, some like off notes as well.
Yeah. So it's a phoenix. It's a phoenix, right? So phoenix rises from its predecessor, right? But it's like right? It's the old figuring out this beauty of the new, and it gives the new this new way of being. It's the leaf that is falling that becomes a decay in order to feed the tree once more, right? So even though there is an ending of this old song, it's giving rise, it's creating this emergence.
It's the foundation for the next.
Right? Like it's like this beautiful, so that's what is happening. It's like this purging stage of being like, well, I'm not this, but I'm not quite this. How do I become this, right? So like there's this right? So it's like rhythmic to like to find its way, right? because the thing is, it's like when you're one way, like even if you think on a microcosmic, right? Not the macro, right? Because we're talking about macrocosmic, we're talking about micro of a person's journey. It's very difficult for me personally to be a makeup artist. You know, for first, and then before that, I was a nail technician, right? Like I worked in the beauty industry for so long, to then leave all of that behind to personally be who I am today.
Yeah.
It took a lot of kicking and screaming along the way, a lot of releasing the old ways of being, right? So that is the macro also, right? It's emanating through us, right? Like this new way of being, right? Because the old way of you know, killing the earth, poisoning our waters, you know, our land, all of these things,
excess consumerism constantly,
it is not sustainable.
Yeah.
Right? And so that song that was playing is no longer. I mean, that's like a very deep philosophical, like contemplation of self, of thinking, well, how is that song resonant and mirrors our reality? But if you think about it, right, like it's like being at a rock concert versus being at Taylor Swift. It's a different energy, right? There's a different energy happening, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. Like there's like this energy that's behind everything that we can't see, right? That is reverberating. And, you know, we talk about cycles and things like that, but this is what's happening on our planet, is that there's a window of time of change. There's cycles on this planet as much as there are seasons in the world, right? And so now we're just, you know, entering into this new golden age of self, and you know, I'm excited to see where we go and where we go,
absolutely,
as well too, and you know, seeing how we can, you know, maybe collaborate and sing more.
Absolutely. Well, so one thing that you were talking me about before we hopped on here was that you're starting to have, or was this just a one-off, like your music groups for community?
Oh, yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah, tell me a little bit more about that, because I know we kind of just talked about it in passing, but it feels like a space that I want all of our people to experience.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
So speaking of like resonance, right, of the new song, I, you know, like not just the fact that I came from the film industry and knowing that creativity is everything, right? I see how people create content, and I see how that content goes out into the world, and that is what creates a lot of our reality, right? Because of what people see on media and TV and things like that, and hearing the music and stuff, right? So media is such a creativity, and media is such a beautiful place for self-expression, right? But also when it's expressed through like heart space, right? It touches so many more people. And so I'm creating a space, a community space, where people can literally come and share their music, their gifts, you know. And Grandpa and I offer this like once a month. And what we do is we have people gather and come together. We do cacao and we do energy. We sing some songs.
Awesome. Me
and the ancestors sing some songs, and then we help people to come back to their center, to release energies that are no longer in resonance, you know, things like that. And then after that, people are feeling nice and clear. We play music, we connect, you know, we do all this fun stuff. But it's a basically a community, a space in which we can all come together and share our creativities and our imagination and play.
I love that. Yeah. And we need more spaces like that.
Yes.
So if you'd like to invite our audience, then I'll gladly link your website below. I mean, obviously, I'll link your website, but if you have, I don't know if you have
events and
links
stuff.
yet, but
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much.
We'll put it in there for sure.
Thank you.
Awesome. What do you think, since you worked with so many different artists in your career before really stepping into this new era of yourself, did you ever feel like music was healing still, like before you really had this newfound sense of self-awareness? Like, did you feel connected to music in that? No, not at all.
Not at all. Except for when I'm singing like in the shower with my Vietnamese music and like singing like karaoke. No.
That's wild.
Nothing at all. Nothing. Nothing, not even one bit. I do remember in 2021 when 2021 or 2022, can't remember. I was in Brazil and I was in the Amazon River with a friend of mine, and I met these other two like Brazilian ladies, and one of them was a shaman, medicine shaman, and she offered to do hape, to serve me hape, and I was like, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And she's like trying to tell me something, you know, in Portuguese, and I'm like, okay, just do it.
Yeah. And
so she served me hape for the first time.
were you shocked?
I was in the Amazon River, literally in the river.
Oh my gosh.
And she served me hape for the first time.
Yeah.
And I swear I didn't know what to expect, but the heavens opened up. I started to see eagles flying, and I heard a voice that was so, it was as if this voice was like you talking to me. And it was like, when the time is right, we're going to give you a voice.
Wow.
And that was it. That was the message. And I saw this man with these feathers and like braids and everything. And I was crying because I was like, wow, like that message felt really deep. And I'm thinking to myself, voice. I'm like, what's my voice? I don't know what that means. Ugh. Right?
So cool.
And then, and I told the girl, her friend spoke English. So I was, you know, she was translating, and the girl looked at me and she's like, you can see the invisible worlds? and you know, and then I was like, yes. And she's like, because you just saw my guide. She was like, the way that you explained him is exactly my guide. She's like, the feathers and the braids right here and da-da-da. And I'm like, yes. And she's like, whoa, right? And so I'm like, okay, so that's really validating for me, right? Because I'm like, oh, okay, so like I'm seeing and what I'm hearing. And so since then, I'm like, okay, like what does it mean? What does it mean? What does it mean? And to be honest with you, I'm gonna be, you know, I don't really know what that means still to today. Well, when you're ready, we'll give you a voice. I have no idea what that means, right? Well, am I singing? Am I sharing? What am I doing?
Well, it sounds like you already have that voice when you're working with clients, you know, in sessions. It's like that voice it's there, and maybe it's harder to recognize because it's so much in the work and in the journeying and not so much in the day-to-day, like beta state of mind, like straightforward thinking, logical, rationalizing, the ego of like trying to, again, make it something more than it is.
Yep, exactly. Yes. Yeah. So thank you for the reminder too, because it's like, you know, sometimes I go in, you're right. I go into my thinking, I'm like, what's that? Yeah. And like you said, I'm already embodying it, right? Really, and sharing it. And that's the beauty of it. It's like this journey, this initiation. I'm still going through my initiation with them, you know, and I'm like, when am I out of this initiation? And it's like, well, you know, they don't give me an answer, but you know, they always tell me, have fun and let the world surprise you, let life surprise you. That's the only thing that they share with me consistently all the time. Every time I go into space and I ask a question, because they never answer my questions, by the way.
That's typical ancestors.
They never answer my questions. But it's great. Like it's such a surprise because I never thought music. I never in a million years really think that I would have this deep connection with music like the way that I have and am right now. Yeah. And only deepening it, right?
Yeah, so. I mean, I'm excited to see where things continue to go for you. Yeah. So speaking of that, I have one question. I want to continue on that thought, but just for our audience, I don't think I've ever spoken about hape before. So just like for clarity, maybe you're able to summarize it. Like it's a powdery tobacco. Yes. But it's more than that, right? So would you mind like sharing a little bit about hape?
Yeah. Okay. So, you know, again, through this story, obviously, my first encounter and experience with hape was in Brazil and working with it very, very closely because, you know, I serve it to my clients. But what it is tobacco, like pure tobacco, right? Like none of the stuff that we now put into cigarettes, right? But pure medicine of tobacco. And some of the blends, they use like herbs and they dry it up and then they grind it into a powder. So what this powder does is you blow it up the nose and it opens up your pineal gland, your third eye, and your crown chakra. And it's a really purging medicine. So what does that mean? It will release, like if you have thoughts in your head, like actually last week I was in a ceremony and someone had like a stuffy like nose and they were coming down with a cold and I served them I
missed my hand like
like I served them a menthol one and they're like and then like a day later, they like texted me, it was like, oh,
It's gone.
my cold's gone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's really purging. It like really releases all that stuck energy, whatever it is that's in the mind, in the body, that is not in resonance. It just releases it. Right.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it really focuses on the third eye, the pineal gland, and the crown chakra. And it releases all the stuff that is stuck so that you're more clear. So
Yeah.
when I do Hape, I'm like in it with the ancestors, because I can hear them. It becomes like a clear conduit, like a vessel.
It does feel like focusing.
Yes.
After you get past like the tears.
Yes. People, use
for
it for
me
meditation.
anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, people use it for meditation.
Yeah.
It's really great for meditation. They use it to channel, to connect, and it is legal, right? It's not a psychedelic or anything like that. Yeah, but it does contain nicotine, so I always use it and have like, I let people know, like being very, careful and just mindful that intentional that, it does have nicotine, right? So, use it like with anything and everything, right? Like being mindful with like how you're treating it. And for me, it's sacred. I don't use it every day.
Yeah.
I use it only in ceremony. I use it for my clients that literally can't drop out of their head because they're like super in their head. Yeah. So I offer it as an offering before I, do energy work on them. So
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
Of course.
Yeah. I know we've shared Hape before, and it does feel like a shot of caffeine, but better. Like, it's the clarity that is really
so much clarity
beyond.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So what I wanted to go back to is we were talking about the future and next steps for you. And I know that you're in the process of potentially launching a new podcast.
Oh, thank you so much.
I'm saying potentially because I know you don't have a name yet, but it sounds like it's already in process. So
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your partner in the podcast space and what do you guys want to build with this new vision?
Thank you so much for asking. It's so wonderful.
Yeah.
So actually it's my husband and I and a dear friend of ours, Dave. What it is that so my husband and I came from the film industry. So he was a DP and also, did lighting and gaffing and stuff in the industry as well too. So he's really good with equipment. And him and I have this dream where we would love to create content. Like I said, going back to knowing that creativity and media is such a gateway to helping people, right?
Yeah.
We always have talked about wanting to create content, heartfelt content, like content that helps elevate human consciousness, right? And to connect, right? To me, to create is to relate. To relate is to create. So my husband and I wanted to create some sort of like a YouTube channel or some type of medium in which we can connect to our audience. And I love talking so much, as you can tell, and sharing, ancestral wisdom and actually sharing a lot of my process through my initiations from the invisible world, right? So a lot of my challenges come from the ancestors. They gave me all of these beautiful challenges in order for me to understand what it means to be human. Literally.
Yeah.
Embodying all the lessons and tribulations and trials to understand what it really means and to help offer guidance to others who are also going through this thing that we are calling life, right? And what that looks like. And so a dear friend of mine, Dave, he is also like really into like talking to me and Grandpa. And so he's like, I would love to like interview you and just chat these conversations and just share wisdom from the other world. And so we're, in the works of creating a studio and just having conversations and just learning about lessons and ways that we can allow ourselves to come back to our center, back to our heart space. Because the thing is, it's like there's so much noise right now out there, people are always selling to people. There's a lot of things that help you can manifest this, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah. But I mean, and I'm not saying that, what it is I'm developing is going to be better. No. What it is that I am looking to develop is a foundation for you to come home to yourself.
Yeah.
That's it, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no right, wrong, good or bad. And taking my experiences for the past 5 years working with clients on an individual level
Mm-hmm.
and seeing how everyone's journey is so uniquely theirs and how beautiful it is,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And to be able to come back to that and remembering like these lessons are here to teach us. You know, you asked to, you know, have like stronger muscles. You got to go to the gym for that, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And so life is, you know, you ask for strength, guess what? It's going to give you tests
to strengthen you.
Yes, exactly. And so it's wonderful to have these conversations. But also, honestly, like the truth is my husband and I were like, okay, we really want to create these contents to like really connect with people.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, in this age of AI, there's going to be a lot of things that's going to be made by AI, which is fine. And I, you know, and I really, truly, I do support a lot of it. But the truth is, more and more, many people will not feel a deep sense of connection to self.
Yeah.
Or to another.
Yeah.
And so these conversations, even this podcast that you're having, I think it's amazing. This is the new wave of how people are going to continue to find connection, right?
Yeah.
Is through your podcast, through you essentially, right? Like as the person that this is what you are presenting, this is what you want to share in the world. People that are looking for that is going to resonate with your content, right?
Yeah.
And then in many odd ways, it's almost as if they become your friends, right? Through the ethers, right? Through watching you.
Yeah, it is a weird thing, but I mean, I feel like when people are commenting on my stuff, like I am making it to help and to just put thoughts and ideas out there, you know? So it's like, it's fun to do. And then if it can impact somebody and we can continue the conversation in some way, then I feel like that's growth for everybody.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm going to bring it back to one last thing that my husband and I wanted to share is that, you know, he calls me the modern shaman. Like, what does that mean? But the modern shaman, he goes, it's shamanism is to connect, right? Is to help guide and everything. And he's like, you know, grandpa, when like he grew up like in, you know, like he was born in 20s and 30s and it's like his journey was having to go through this process in order for him to connect with people. It was like a town center. People would come, you know, to gather, you know, and see him on the weekends or whatever, right? But now, the modern day, there's no town centers.
Yes.
You know, you like, I don't know, like when's the last time we went to downtown LA?
Yeah. No, I mean, even like as a teenager, I feel like the mall was the place that you would go to even just like hang out, you know, or like the football game or whatever. But now that if you're not like in school, what is there really?
Exactly.
I mean, maybe that's why so many people are like addicted to sports and stuff because they feel like connected.
Sense of community, connection.
But
yes.
And I think like there are places that are budding or like church is, you know, can be that in a way, but it's not necessarily, like you said, like going downtown. I avoid downtown as much as possible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what's fascinating, if you think about it, we are in the year 2025, right?
I think so. I'm just kidding.
What is it?
Yeah.
But if you think about it, it's the first time in humanity, really, that at this very moment, anyone from all over the globe can be tuning in and watching this. You can have someone from Asia, from Europe, right, from Australia watching this show right now. Like, how amazing is that?
Yeah.
Right?
It is pretty cool.
We can connect. It's like our species can connect from all over the globe.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And how do you create a community in the ethers where people can come like a hub to get content, to listen, to share, right? And that's something that my husband and I are looking to build, right? We are looking to build it brick by brick, whatever that looks like, because we want it to be a safe space where people can share. Want it to be a safe space where people can gather, listen to stories, you know, not feel that they are alone in some of these processing and stuff like that, right? A place where they can look for healers, where they can look for inspiration, right? Music, right? Many things. And so I don't know know exactly how we're going to get there, but that is the intention.
It's evolving.
It's evolving.
Yes.
The intention is there, and so we shall see how it begins to grow.
Yeah. So keep an eye out for that for all of our listeners out there. I can't wait to hear what name comes to you. I'm sure it's going to be, special and unique.
Thank you, my love.
Yeah.
Thank you again for having us on the show.
Well, I wanted to ask you two more questions, actually,
sure,
if you don't mind. So you obviously have a very special relationship with your grandpa. And one thing that I think I'm hearing more and more of, and people are more open to, is like healing linear trauma and going back and sort of looking at different aspects of their lineage. And so what is one way that people can connect with their ancestors, those that have passed? Or more than one way.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing that I would say. One of the ways that I connect, and I actually share this a lot with my clients as well too, they're always here. They live on through us, in our blood, in our breath. Because they're gone, doesn't mean they're really gone. And we can connect with them. They can hear us. So a really good way for me to really connect is actually talking to them. It sounds wild, but you can literally talk to them. And the best way I have found is talking to them at night.
Okay.
When I'm going to bed.
Maybe when you've already put some distractions from the day aside.
Exactly. And the night is a time of the moon, the connection to the subconscious, to the time of the yin, the hour in which everyone begins to sleep and they're dreaming, right? And you allow yourself to be creative, right? In those spaces, it's the best time to connect to the unseen realms. So what I do is I literally have it like it's the nightly ritual, and I just talk to them. I just sit there and I close my eyes, and in my meditative state, I actually speak to them. And what's interesting is through speaking to them, I ask them questions, and I tell them specifically, I'm like, show me a sign, give me a sign, speak to me. Because some people don't have the ability to connect to the unseen realms, but the unseen realms can give us signs and clues from this world. So sometimes, I would say, I would share with my clients to do that. And then they're like, oh my gosh, I started to see hummingbirds everywhere. And it reminded me of my grandmother.
Yeah. See, I feel like I have things that come up often that trigger memories, but I'm not sure if it's so much because part of it is I work in my family business. So, like yesterday, for example, it came up that we were talking about my grandpa. And people have mixed memories. My memories are pretty good of him, but I guess, working with him maybe is a different perspective. But I've never tried actually speaking to them. Or like my dad who passed, I feel like maybe there's still some heart walls to work through on my own end. But, I guess to speak to them, you also have to be ready to listen, right? So,
yeah. It's in the allowing ourselves to open, we begin to connect with the magic of the unseen worlds, right? It's actually allowing ourselves to be in that space as well, right? Like you said, it's to be able to listen, right? And the listening is an act of allowing, of surrendering and flowing, right? And it can be challenging.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But so that's one way that I connect with the ancestors personally for me. And that's, what my grandfather has taught me all the time. He's like, I'm hearing you, and tell me what it is that, you are wanting guidance on, and I can share with you. But I don't know if you don't tell me.
Yeah.
And so I tell him all the time. I share with him, like, can you help me with this? And then things start to come up, and I'm like, oh. So I start to, have my own process of processing these things that starts to come up for me. So
that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've always said that my grandpa, Mike, was, even before he passed, like one of my biggest inspirations, because he was an entrepreneur, and I just saw this like beautiful lifestyle that he had, and as a kid and as a teenager experiencing that, like I wanted that for myself.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting now that I'm working in the family business that he built. And I do feel like there is this unseen, unheard connection between him and I. But yeah, maybe I'll try talking to him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
see what really comes through.
Exactly.
Instead of just little pings throughout the day.
Yeah, ask for that guidance because they are always there guiding us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. So aside from your own practice and your monthly community gatherings, is there anything else that you wanted to share on the podcast today that I haven't covered yet?
Actually, I think that's about it.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
thank you so much.
I still have one last question for you.
Sure.
So this is something I ask everybody. Is there a song or multiple songs that have changed your life or saved your life in some way?
Oh, let's see. I'm just like thinking, and it's all like Vietnamese and Chinese songs, but yes.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you tell us about the songs, or one or two, or whatever many feels right?
Yeah. I would say I was going through a really rough time as a kid when my dad left. And so music was my mantra growing up. Because it helped me to get out of those mind spaces and fear, abandonment, all of that stuff. So I remember I had like a CD player, and my mom would get me like Vietnamese CDs, and I would just play it, and I would play it again and again and again. And now if you ask me the song's name, I have no idea. I just keep playing it.
Yeah. Can you still hear it in your head?
I can.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're old Vietnamese songs, so I don't know what they are.
Yeah.
But sometimes my mom, when I go back to Boston to visit her and she'll have it, I'm like, oh, I know that song, right?
Yeah. You immediately recognize it.
I immediately recognize it. But I would say, like there are very, very struggling dark moments. And those are like the times where I'm like listening to music and it's like, oh, I'm not thinking about anything right now. I'm in the moment of like dancing to the song. And so, yes, there are those songs that, and now that you're asking, I'm like, gosh, I should probably ask my mom what the name of those songs are.
Yeah. Well, that would be a fun experiment in a way. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm so grateful to be here and to share and, to have this like moment of connection with you as well too, because it's like we're doing a podcast, but I'm feeling like I just, your energy is like I'm just here as your friend having this beautiful conversation. So it's like it's so nice. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. And for doing all of the work that you do, and I mean you helped me when my dad passed, and it is a journey, right? Like there's so much to explore for what we already know about ourselves and our story. And then there's so much more beyond that. Like the fact that you, by chance, reconnected with your dad, that's like such a wild story to even, like I really believe in divine timing and the way that things unfold. And I think when you're walking this path to help and serve others, it's never what you expect. And like you said, that there will be trials and tribulations and things that come up, and we get to set the example for everybody else. And I think the one thing that I am constantly seeing from you and the work that you're doing, and just how you've helped me, it's that it's worth it. It's really worth it in the end.
It
and
really is.
And just like being open to it, like you were saying about connecting with my ancestors, like just starting to be open to it can really take us to places that we might not even have considered.
And like the last plug like of wisdom that I would like to share, a little nugget, to wrap up what you just said, is honestly, my love, like this journey, this work, everything that I've, gone through, 38 years of my life, and the last 5 years has been like consistent, like full-time working on myself, full-time immersed in this initiation process of becoming this, whoever, like the shaman that I am, right? There's like, it's funny. It's like I call myself Shaman Ada because that's what I do, right? But it's like more than that, right? Like there's more than that. The truth is I'm beginning to see that like everything is actually helping me to just become a better human. That's it. It's evolving to become a better human, to not react on my feelings and my emotions and the past and getting stuck, right? Freeing myself.
Yeah.
Becoming that better human and to free myself, to be able to make choices of my own and not based on what my ancestors couldn't do, right? Because a lot of our ancestors, they couldn't, you know, we go through lessons in life, right? And so moments where some of them may have passed on before they learned that lesson, well, that lesson now is going to be in the family lineage, right? And at some point or another, someone has to untie that knot.
You mean like a lesson of like an experience that they had that we get to sort of like untie the knot.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Because, you know, sometimes we might, you know, have it like this, like, yeah, for instance, like I used to have an anger issue, but I didn't know where it came from. So I had to do a lot of healing to go back to undo that from my lineage, right? That helped me to be like, whoa, that's where it came from.
Yeah.
And now
could
it's
you
like,
point it back to one place, or was it more of like a gathering of many different,
you know, women not being able to speak, not being able to express, you know, and then even in the lineage of the men that so much anger because they had so much resentment that they have all these responsibilities on themselves. They couldn't do anything other than their responsibilities, right? There's so many unsaid things, you know, couldn't finish goals that they set out to do in their lifetime, you know, things like that, that created all this mumble jumble of anger that I was expressing that energy through my physical form in this lifetime, and then having to come back and untangle those things, right? And then now it's like, oh, I have anger. Yeah. But I'm like, oh, I don't need to be angry right now. Like, I can choose. Yeah. Whereas before it was like, ah, you know?
Yeah, everything would set
me off, right? Now I'm like sitting with myself, like, okay, anger is a beautiful emotion, but do I really need her in this moment? No. Fine. You know, you can cut me off on the freeway. It's fine. Not to react
Sounds
to it,
like
right?
you've been able to integrate more peace into your being.
That's a beautiful way to say it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
To kind of counterbalance that. Yeah. I know for me, sometimes I'll get so frustrated and focused on things that like are out of my control. And that's when I get angry. Yeah. That's when it starts to creep up anyway, you know, so that I have to like remind myself, that doesn't matter. that thing over there, it's fine. Yeah. That has really nothing to do with you.
Yeah, it's funny. There was a point in the last couple of years where I was like, I kind of miss anger. Right?
Interesting.
Because it's an emotion that I was so used to.
Yeah. It probably fueled a lot of the success that you had in the beginning years of your career.
Yeah. Yeah, it's you know, I think all emotions are so beautiful, right? Yeah. And maybe we can do another episode about emotions and music, right? Because that's another thing that I have learned so much is shifting energies through music with emotion. So there's a whole. I'm like,
wait, we can't just leave it at that. Let's just touch on it real quick. Like when you were saying shifting energies through emotion and music, what do you mean? Like in your practice or your own?
Yeah. In my practice and in general in life. There was an ayahuasca ceremony that I was a guardian for. And it was really, really beautiful. I got to meet doubt. It was one of the emotions that I felt really strongly when I first walked this path. And I could not shake doubt. I couldn't shake it. It was wild. Yeah. I would drum, I would feel her. I would say something, I would feel her. And then when I would feel doubt, I would just immediately cut off from the magical world because doubt comes from fear, right? Yeah. It's like I'm doubting, am I saying the right thing? Am I going to, you know?
That's a big one sometimes for me as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so in my journey, I met doubt, and then doubt talked to me. And I call all my emotions she's, but she was like, you know, I'm here to help you to have more discernment. And I'm like, what's discernment? So, you know, we had this whole beautiful conversation. And so eventually I said thank you to doubt. And then I met trust. I had never really met trust.
Wow.
Because I never really trusted myself.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm like, oh, hi. And I could feel trust. And she was so magical. And she like hung out on my shoulder and she was like, hi. And I'm like, you're different. And she's like, yeah, let's see what trust is. And it was magical. She created this rainbow from here, from me to God.
Wow.
Through the energy of trust. She goes, do you know what trust is? And I was like, no. And she's like, it's letting go of all your fears so you can come lighter.
I love that.
So you can hear your truth. You can hear God speak to you. And I was like, oh my God. So she like, trust turned into like this rainbow unicorn. And I was like riding this rainbow unicorn, right?
So good. Into
the light. And it was magical. And so that one experience that I have will always stay in my heart because when I feel doubt, and I still do, I use music and I call upon trust.
Cool.
And I say, hey, trust, I don't know where you're at right now, girl, but we're going to shift doubt. Yeah. I love you, doubt. Thank you for your teachings. Thank you for giving me discernment right now. But I don't need you right now.
Yeah.
I start singing. And then I find, through trust, I find the rhythm. So I'm like, na 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 na. And then I'm talking to doubt in the background. And I'm like, okay, doubt, trust. And then I'm like using the frequency and I'm starting to like shift it, right? And then the minute that I can feel in my heart the energy of the beat that I need to shift this frequency, doubt like disappears. Gone. Wow. And I'm tapping into trust, and then her and I are dancing through the rhythm of the music. And then
awesome.
And then I'm like in. And then the moment I'm in the energetic field, I know, because then suddenly my whole body changes. I'm feeling, if the person's feeling nauseous, if the person's anxious, if the person's, feeling something, and then I feel it in my physical body. And then trust is hanging out with me, and she's like, trust yourself that this is not your energy. You're mirroring this person.
Yeah.
Like, okay. So then she hangs out with me the whole time.
Wow.
So I use music to really shift my emotions when I'm working.
Yeah. And it sounds like, become more clear even.
Yeah. Yeah. I always see trust. I'm like, yeah, you're like this unicorn.
That's a great image. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to think of that now whenever I need more trust. And specifically whenever doubt comes up, because I feel like doubt actually comes up more than trust. Like for me, I have to call upon trust, kind of like what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but what's interesting is when you become friendly with that emotion, right? Because the thing is, like, when we are, it's like best friends, right?
Yeah.
Friends in general, but best friends. If you're best friends with doubt, now you're just going to always hang out with doubt, right?
Right. They're always there.
They're always, yeah. And so it's like friends, right? Like it's the same thing in this world. It's like, you're the 5 people you hang out with. So like, who are you hanging out with, right? And so it's like, okay, so like I have to keep myself in check of like, okay, so who am I hanging out with today? Am I hanging out with like love? Am I hanging out with doubt? Am I hanging out with fear? Like, what are my emotions? I do like daily emotional check-ins with myself.
Yeah, that's huge.
And like really identifying like, okay, yes, there are moments where I'm afraid of the unknown and I'm doubtful. I'm grateful for it. I'm not denying it.
Yeah.
Right? Like I don't push away doubt. I don't push away fear, but I say, hey guys, not today though.
Yeah.
Right? And there's this like, when you can really tap in and realize that like everything is alive, even your emotions, you can have these beautiful relationships to them and developing these relationships to them. And because they vibrate at a certain frequency, all emotions do, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You can use your voice to shift that frequency.
I love it. We might have to do a part 2 just to talk about voice and frequency. I have this pillow at home and it's Have you ever, well, I'm sure you've seen the Wheel of Emotions.
Yes.
It's fascinating because I'm sure, there's like a whole nother podcast episode there.
There's a whole podcast episode. I would love to come back for that.
But thank you for, telling us at least a little bit more about that process, because I think, there's just so much, it's so nuanced, I think, when we're trying to explain like music and emotions and healing. But at the end of the day, it's also like you have to start, right? Like you just have to try something new and have that intention to, I don't know, maybe heal is not the right word, but just to be open.
Yes.
And that's I think where the magic really happens.
Yeah. And the last thing I want to share is that, like, we feel our emotions, we can't hear them, but through sound and frequency, we can hear them, right? We can
totally,
because it's something we feel,
Yeah.
But you can actually verbalize and feel and hear at the same time through music, right?
Yeah.
And if you think about it, there are like love songs, sad songs. You cry when you hear certain songs that drum up that emotion.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's endless with music.
Yeah.
I think we can talk about later. But anyways, thank you for having me today.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming out and joining me and sharing your story.
Yeah, thank you for receiving. Yeah.
I'm excited for our listeners to get to hear this episode. And for everybody who is listening out there, thank you so much for tuning in today. Let us know what your favorite part of this episode is or was in the comments. And if you have any other questions for Shaman Ada, we can also make sure that we, in our next episode, be it on my podcast or in your podcast, that we cover them. And this has been so fun to just learn more about your process. But, like, to have experienced it and then to talk about it is like two completely different things, right? But I think it's really interesting to hear, now that I've experienced it, to hear like what you're actually doing. Because in the work, it's like I was also in another place. Like my mind was somewhere else. I don't know. My body was like sweating, like it was like having this reaction. Yeah, it's really interesting. I think if you are in the Los Angeles area and you have the opportunity to come to one of Ada's group experiences, that's a really beautiful place to start. And are you taking on any new clients? I know you've scaled back and you're working on lots of different things right now, but you are.
I am.
Maybe.
But
if people want to reach you, like, where's the best place to find you?
They can reach out to me through email, hello@shamanada.com.
Cool.
And that's the best place, because I do take clients, but my one-on-ones now are very, very different. I work within time space in the invisible world. So there's a whole process of, like, the clients reaching out to me, having like consultation call, making sure that, they are ready for the work, and that I am also in alignment and not just, just saying yes to, to anybody, because there's sacredness to this process. And so,
so it might not be for everybody, and that's okay.
Yeah. And that's okay.
Yeah.
So
awesome. Well, if you felt aligned with Ada's work, then definitely reach out. And don't forget to follow us on YouTube and anywhere you're listening to the podcast today. And you can also follow Shaman Ada on Instagram. And any other places that you're online, or mostly just
on my Instagram. It's just shaman.ada. And they can just find me there.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So thank you for listening. And until next time, stay healthy, wealthy, and wise.